Hey there, night owls. How are these winter nights treating you? Ooh, it is cold out there. Here in Brooklyn, New York, 20 degrees if we're lucky with the wind chill. Anyways, welcome all to another episode of Night Talk. Come on in, grab a seat, get like a cozy hot cocoa. We've got a very chilly conversation for you today. For those of you new to Night Talk, this is where we schmooze about everything under the stars. I'm your host, Gabriel Buterman from National Parks at Night, and thank you for joining us. Comment below where you are tuning in from and maybe the temperature. And while you do that, I want to remind you that if you can't stay for the whole episode, they are posted to our Instagram Reels about 10 to 15 minutes afterwards. You can go rewatch the episode there, including recent ones on our Reels you'll find from the Aurora guy, Isabel Tabaki, Sarah Matthews, and more. We also have these wrapped up in a more viewer-friendly, wide format version for our YouTube page. And that usually takes about 1 to 2 days. And if you go to our website, 2025 Night Photo Summit, and go up to the pre-con events, you'll notice that we have all of them listed there. So then you can play them on the big screen at home. You can stream the YouTube and put on your TV. And it's probably a little bit easier that way. I'll drop a link in where you can rewatch that in the chat. We are coming up on Night Photo Summit. Who is excited? It starts on Friday, this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Folks, 50 hours of night photography, goodness, education, inspiration, 45 speakers, all that good stuff. But leading up to it, we still have some really awesome free content to share with you. So every Tuesday and Thursday leading up to Night Photo Summit, we offer free replays of previous Night Photo Summit classes. So we're almost at the end of today's. We got about 4 more hours for you to catch today's free replay, which is Mike Shaw's 2024 Designer Landscapes Talk. Thursday's free replay, which starts again midnight. As soon as Wednesday becomes Thursday, that midnight on Thursday a.m. for 24 hours, you'll be able to replay Forrest Chappett's From Star Trails to Deep Sky Astro in 5 nights. So, that's where we are. That's some of the things loading up. Let's see. Okay, we got some people here. Anyone from Canada? Oh, we got the Amazing Sky Guy. You're in Alberta. That's right. Minus 25 Celsius this past weekend, but it's warm now. What is it, just 0? That's awesome. Great to see you. He was our speaker last year, and it looks like you nailed the clips this year as well, or this last year as well. So congratulations. Hello to Jody. Good to see you. Joff, Ellens, Brett, Jen, Arctic Colors, Night Shift. All welcome to another episode of Night Talk. Well, we have our first Canadian speaker on Night Talk. So I hope that you all, we got an Amazing Sky Guy and hopefully more. Yep, I see it. We got Joff in there too. Good to see Canada showing up here for the Night Talk. Nice to see you're in the house. Let's see a show of hands. Who here likes photographing wintry scenes? Well, Monika Deviat is a award-winning photographer and Nikon Canon ambassador based in Alberta, Canada. She is not only just a photographer, though. Monika is a metalhead, a speaker, an educator, a pole and aerial athlete, an instructor, hiking guide, and a non-practicing physicist. In 2015, Monika shifted from shooting the stars on stage to the stars in the sky. Night photography became her favorite genre, and it goes hand in hand with her landscape and adventure images. Monika's photography journey has also led her to teach workshops, as she is passionate about sharing her knowledge and creating memorable experiences with others. Let's give a very warm, welcome to Monika Deviat. There we go. Monika.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
How you doing tonight? How
Good,
cold
how are
is
you?
it? You're in Canada.
Yes.
Okay, we're in Canada. And how cold are you?
It's not that cold today, to be honest. I think it's like -6, but -14 with the wind chill, which I think is like 21 Fahrenheit and 6 Fahrenheit. So that's pretty warm for here.
Okay. Okay. I don't see anybody here migrating to Alberta right away.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. We got all right. Okay. There's quite a few people.
Awesome.
You got quite a few people. We got Alberta. We've got Nova Scotia in the
Sweet.
house. Right on. Calgary and Vancouver. We look at this. Just Montreal is the
Yeah.
slackers as usual.
Yeah.
Listen, Monika, you have had quite a photographic journey, but let's start at the beginning. What first fascinated you with photography?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure I'd say I was fascinated by it at first. It's just kind of
Okay.
something fun.
Uh-huh.
I was taking like just a super tiny little point and shoot to like my friends' shows, like heavy metal band shows,
Okay.
and just like taking the occasional picture in between, headbanging and moshing, and as you do.
Yeah.
And then my parents bought me a little like Nikon D90 as a gift,
Okay.
and that's when I really started getting into photos. I'd say maybe that's what intrigued me. Um, Learned what ISO was when my pictures were turning out really dark.
Yep.
Yeah. And yeah, I kind of quickly ended up upgrading from there. I got like a D300 and then a D3S, and yeah, I was super into the heavy metal. Yeah.
How many cameras were broken in concerts?
None.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And I know we're gonna maybe show some pictures later, and we'll talk
Okay.
about some of what I experienced. But yeah,
Okay.
I broke nothing.
Okay. We'll talk about your broken bones during those pictures. But okay, no cameras were hurt while she was in the pit. That's good to hear. And so, right, your photography career started in the darkness of the concert and event photography. You shot tons of these heavy metal shows and festivals. I guess, with our audience, what it's like to be that concert event photographer.
It's definitely an interesting world. I did really stick to heavy metal. Occasionally,
Okay.
I would photograph something else. Like I photographed Eric Church for the Saddle Dome in Calgary, which is a big stadium,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like country, which is very much not my thing.
This is like the pictures. The pictures were shot on JPEG just because.
No, I still did a good job. But yeah, I mean, heavy metal is very intense. It's a challenging situation to work in. I think, I would say like pop concerts would probably be easier because they like their lights, whereas heavy metal is they love their darkness and they love their fire. And so I was really pushing my gear sometimes. And there's the whole credential process,
Mm-hmm.
being in the photo pit or not having a photo pit and being in the crowd.
Right. And then being on stage, right? Isn't the thing is like if you're the stage, you get the first three songs.
Well, that's from the photo pit. I
That's
didn't
what
get
the
on
photo
stage
pit.
too often,
Okay.
but also like with heavy metal, especially here at least in Alberta, the venues aren't that big. So while I would go backstage sometimes, there was like no room.
Right. I never understand the first three songs thing because, boy, the band it seems like they're just getting warmed up. I mean, yeah, they might start with a big intro, but it's like I want to be the photographer shooting the last song or like the crescendo or whatever, and there's no one in the pit. They just or they're cycling in different people.
No, so you usually get booted out. Like that's kind of the standard.
That's
But
it.
for heavy metal shows, I can almost see why, because sometimes it starts happening in the first song, but you get the people that are crowd surfing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so those
Right.
are the guys.
That's.
And I've definitely caught someone's face with my hand so they didn't fall on the floor before.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but then I wonder, like, I don't know, it is a bit of a distraction sometimes, right? If you have all these like cameras pointing at you, they're in between the crowd and the singer or whoever. It is a bit of a distraction.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess. Me, I admire all the concert, photography. I mean, obviously, I'm like the rest of the world and just still not accustomed that you could actually now that you could bring a camera to a concert, right? Because they've just given up on that because everyone has their phones, right? But usually, anyways, I'll just. But that's also the annoying thing. It's like when you're watching a concert, you just see all these phones in the crowd. That's just like one of the most distracting things because we're like moths. Right, our eyes are going down to the phones, not to the concert, right?
And those clips recorded on the phone sound so good; they're going to be so awesome to listen to later.
It's like how many of you have recorded those songs of just like favorited that and like listened to it over and over and over?
Yeah.
Well, Monica, everyone's night journey is different, and yours I think you're the first person that I know that switched from that concert venue to the night. I think that's awesome. And, others, travel the world for their night journey. They travel the world chasing the Milky Way. Others, as we've seen on these talks, love the deep space. Your passion lies heavily in the wild landscapes of Canada and beyond. And you triple down, it seems like, on these wintry scenes. I don't know what you do in the summer, but share your night photography journey. So transitioning from that event and going in and following that passion for the wilderness, but also now the night.
Yeah, so I always say like the way I got into night photography was a bit of an accident. I was on vacation with my parents in the Okanagan, and I thought I would do some sunrise, sunset shots. And then I was looking online, and I found this guy that was photographing the Milky Way in the area. And this was not something I'd ever thought of doing. And basically, I just emailed this internet stranger, asked him to take me out. He agreed, and we went in the middle of nowhere in the middle of the night. I took my first Milky Way image, and neither of us turned out to be serial killers. So that was fun.
That's fortunate. Yeah. And that was it. That hooked. That got you hooked from there. Or
so shortly, like a couple months after that, I went to California. And it was mostly to train at a circus school there, and also to photograph some heavy metal bands like Satan. And I was at Rodeo Beach with another metalhead photographer. And I don't know why, but I said, well, let's wait until dark because I think we can get the Milky Way. And at this point, I still knew nothing about it, like not even where the moon would be, what direction I was pointing. And I got it again, and I was like, this is so cool. So I started researching and like learning how you actually catch it at a good time, not just like pure luck.
Yes, not just be like, oh, it's night, it must be out.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately.
I tell you, not in New York City, it don't work at all.
And it's also the reason I got into hiking, because when I was doing my research, like looking at online, seeing what people were doing, I came across a photo by Vern DeWitt, who's very active in the outdoor community here. And he had this picture of the Milky Way at Berg Lake in British Columbia, it's become a super popular spot to go camping. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's a 21-kilometer hike. I don't hike. I don't camp. So then I had to start hiking.
Yep. Okay.
And now I like to spend nights on top of mountains. That's one of my favorite things to do.
Awesome. That's great. And that's it. And the night is, you're so addicted, right? It seems like, well, welcome to the Nocturnal Club. On top of that, you've just recently become a Nikon ambassador in Canada, in the Americas. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's pretty cool.
It is super cool.
Right? Can you kind of take us, I get behind the curtain a little bit, and how did that come to be? And what does it mean to you now? Has your life changed? Are you all of a sudden now Queen of the North, or what's? Maybe
I should be.
I know, right? I think so, right? Doesn't that?
Well, yeah. So, where should I start? I'll start with how I got connected with Nikon, and I was thinking about this. I'm pretty sure I was the one that reached out to them, or like I kind of ran into them first. Is at the Banff Mountain Film Festival in Banff, and the Camera Store. They're actually called the Camera Store in Calgary.
I was confused there for a minute.
Yeah. They had a banner up at their booth and they had asked to use a couple of my night photos. So I went to just go check it out and, take a picture for Instagram. It's pretty cool. And the Nikon guys were next door. So I ended up like explaining my pictures and like what I did and how I shot them. And then I just kept building connections with various people at Nikon Canada. Like they're such nice people.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're super nice. And I don't think I ever really thought about becoming an ambassador. Like I think quite a few years ago, someone mentioned it to me, but I was like, why would they want some weirdo pole dancing metalhead that lurks in the dark as an ambassador? Like, that's silly. But then a couple years ago, I was like, well, maybe because I was doing more speaking, I was running workshops, I was really getting out there. And yeah, then in March 2024, I got the call.
You got the call.
I got the call.
And what did they say? Did they say, would you like to be an ambassador? Or
oh my goodness, yeah, and it was a bit ridiculous because I was in Iceland. Yeah, and so the first day I arrived in Iceland at 7 a.m. after doing like a overnight flight, I drove 6 hours to get to clear skies at Vesterhorn because there's a chance.
There's a chance, exactly.
There's a chance, so might as well drive 6 hours. And then, so I had like a couple of days of basically no sleep. And Chris from Nikon texted me. He's like, do you have time for a call? And honestly, I thought it was about like a presentation for a conference because we had briefly talked about this.
Okay.
And so we get on like Zoom. I'm like barely conscious, to be honest. And he asks, would you like to be a Nikon Canada ambassador? And I think I stared at him for way too long, just like shocked. And my response, I almost wish he had recorded this, was pretty much like a very bewildered Kate, like not okay, like super confused. So I might win for most eloquent response.
Nice. So, I think most people think, obviously when they become ambassador, that's it. They get everything. You now own every Nikon camera, every Nikon lens, or what's
yeah, absolutely. I just like hundreds of thousands of dollars. They just like throw it at you. No big deal.
So now, but it does boost the speaking and everything. So that's an awesome thing.
Yeah,
so,
I think it, like, for me, it's a big honor, and like it's a big amount of trust that they put in you to represent their brand. And it does like help with your credentials, of course, because like if someone like Nikon brings you on as an ambassador, it means they see you have an influence and you inspire others. Maybe, I think.
Agreed. And let's just say it here. All of the cameras, companies, they need more night ambassadors, right? That's it. There's very few night photographer ambassadors, explorers, whatever you want to call it, out there. They're usually just lumped into the wildlife nature thing. And again, we were talking earlier, most of the marketing pieces that we see out there, people are using beautiful night shots. Well, then why not work with professional night photographers?
Well,
they do exist.
Astrophotography has become pretty big. I think there's a lot of people that are really interested in it.
I think as seeing the growth in all the little genres of photography, night photography has probably seen the biggest spike. I mean, obviously portrait, weddings, landscape, that they've always had a big piece of the pie. But within those smaller genres, like you look at macro, you look at night photography, you look at some of the others, I think it's just that, I don't know. Is it that the technology can now get it, can take it better? There's just all these amazing, cool things. We're not getting darker skies, right? We're losing darker skies, right? So obviously the Auroras last year was a big boost in just the overall marketing, but yeah.
I think social media has helped a lot too. Like there's a group I'm part of on Facebook, Alberta Aurora Chasers. I can't remember the exact stats, but before COVID, it was getting up there, the thousands. Now it's almost up to 200,000 people. And I think like people see these pictures, they're fascinated by them. They want to go see it themselves or even just capture it with their phone or their camera.
Mhm.
And it just kind of spreads.
Right. Most of the world can't see the Milky Way, right?
It's true.
Most of the world can't see auroras. Most of the world is not dark. So seeing those pictures hopefully inspires people to get out there to our national parks and get out to these dark sky, preservations and go out there and take trips to preserve. Oh, look at this.
Okay.
Yeah,
Venom's making an appearance.
you even have a night cat, an all black cat.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna run away now because I tried to put her in the camera. She's like, what are you doing?
What's her name?
Venom, after the black metal band.
Nice. I'm surprised Venom's not just usually my cat's attached right to the keyboard. It's like, oh, keyboard's out. Oh, that's my warm spot.
Yeah, she like walks around it sometimes, but she doesn't sit on it.
Doesn't sit on it. You trained her well, I guess. So Nikon ambassador, what's your go-to gear? What's in your bag?
Yes. So I have some of them here.
Ooh,
Let's see if this works. Yes, kind of. So this is the Z8 with the 14 to 24 f2.8, which is my go-to. I love this lens. It's so good. Stars turn out so well.
Is that your mountaintop? Like if you're going to only bring one camera, one lens to the mountain?
Why would I only bring one?
I'm just saying if you were forced, I know.
Well, I guess if I was doing Astro, I'd bring my Astro Modified 6.2.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice. Also with the 14 to 24. I have two of those.
Oh ho ho.
And then I have the Skywatcher Star Adventure.
Okay.
The tracker that I use. Yes.
Okay.
And I have a Z7 II that I also I've hauled all three cameras up a mountain once.
And how many tripods?
Well, 3.
Any baby ones, or are they all full size?
The smallest one is the Manfrotto Be Free.
Okay.
Then, I don't know. I guess they're not that small, but
wow. Yeah. You're a hiker. That's it. You're in.
To suffer, I think.
You like suffering, exactly. And you're bringing a tent, sometimes on these.
There's no room for a tent.
There's no
in my bag or on the ridge.
That's it. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I love it. Right on.
Just hang out. You either go up in the dark or come down in the dark, or you stay up from sunset to sunrise. Depends.
Right. Flip that schedule. Right. Flip that schedule. That's awesome. Also, for those of you who didn't know, Monika did a brilliant job presenting License to Operate a Space Object on BBC's The Documentary podcast. Monika, your passion for how we can preserve the night skies by sharing a variety of points of views from astronomers, conservancies, writers, and business owners was absolutely fantastic. Share with our audience what they can do to help preserve the night skies.
Yeah, well, I think something everyone can do pretty easily is help with awareness. I mean, if light polluted skies are the norm for anyone, it might be hard to see why they should care about preserving darkness or be aware of why light pollution has negative effects on humans or wildlife. Like, that's just how life is. You can even do things around your own home, like use light only when it's needed. I think that was one of the points made in the documentary. Like light pollution, you can turn it off. It stops.
Yeah, right. That's it. You just have to turn it off and it's gone.
Yeah.
Right. Not like any other pollution out there.
Yeah. And then other things with lights, like directing them downwards. I know there are some places that are working harder on that. Like there's international dark sky parks and areas. Waterton National Park is a dark sky area, and the small town there, they've done a lot of work to point all their lights downwards. Encouraging people to look up is important. Yeah. Even the next generations. In that documentary, there was a description of the night sky in Singapore from Sarah Ichioka, and she realized as she was giving her description that she'd never taken her children out to look at the night sky, to look at the stars and talk about constellations. Yeah.
That's good. So, yep.
Oh, yeah. One more point I had, speaking with Indigenous and First Nations people, they've been studying the night sky and using it for thousands of years. They have so many stories and so much knowledge.
It's amazing. And it's, what's really amazing about, those stories is all the first peoples everywhere. They use the stars to guide them, to tell their stories. Their mythology is all based around it. And it's really wild, kind of how similar it is, right? There's often a bear or the hunter, all these different, symbols in the sky that a lot of us struggle to put together without an app, right? To guide us. But that was the big screen TV, right? And that was the stories by the campfire or whatever, just in the sands and everything. So, but I'm always just fascinated. I love mythology and history, and just when you study all the different cultures, and you look especially towards the mythos that's played out in the sky or that's been preserved in the sky, there are a lot of similarities in those stories. So we've got some questions coming in.
Okay.
Fellow metalhead, Suspect
excellent.
Photography is asking, what's the better song to night photography to?
Ooh.
Sisters of Mercy or Black Tape for a Blue Girl? Or are those like neither? It's like, what's your song
mine?
that you listen to going up the mountain?
I don't know. I hate that question.
Quiet
Like,
time?
what's your favorite band? What's your favorite song? To be honest, I'm like, why would you pick just one? It depends on my mood. There's and also heavy metal has so many subgenres, right? Like one night I can go out listening to Iron Maiden. One night I can go out listening to Black Sabbath. Maybe midnight if I'm feeling a little bit more aggressive or Watain, or like maybe I'm feeling ritualistic and we're listening to lots of black metal that night.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Have you ever heard of the band High Lung at all?
I don't think so.
They're sort of, it's funny. They're I believe Icelandic, and they're very more this ritual kind of tribal, but they're often put in metal festivals.
Yeah.
But I'll send you a link. They're worthy. And Suspect and I have seen them in concert before, and it's a fun show. Let's see what else we got in the questions. Okay, OG back in the house. Good to see you, OG. During night photography, have you on these during your night photography adventures in the wilderness encountering any wild animals?
Yes, but nothing too scary.
Okay.
There's usually deer out there. They're very creepy because they just like stand still and stare at you.
Right, and their eyes are always like, you got to shine your headlight. It's like,
yes. Yeah. One time I was hiking up a mountain, and the Rocky Mountain sheep were all hanging out, and they're all like scattered throughout along the trail, and so you just see like so many eyes looking at you. You're just like, okay. Exiting somewhere that I was shooting, I came across some cougar prints that crossed my footprints from going in.
Ooh.
So I know
that's not something you want to see necessarily. Yeah.
Right? You probably won't ever see it. It'll just get you.
No, exactly. Right. If you see it, it's on top of you.
I know, never seen any bears. I see them when I'm going out for wildlife and I'm actively trying to look for them, but otherwise, no.
What are you usually on these, especially the mountaintop stuff? Are you hiking alone often? Are you bringing someone with? What kind of protection are you bringing with? The fists of fire.
The gun show. No, I do hike alone a lot.
Okay.
It's kind of like if it's good and something's going to line up, I'm going to go. But sometimes I will try and take someone with me because it is safer.
Yes.
I always carry bear spray. You make noise when you're out there.
Yep.
Hope that works. Just trying to be aware of your surroundings.
And I think you had mentioned in one of your talks that you also bring the Garmin, right? So you're you can easily dialogue with home, or friends or something, to let them know that you're there, you're safe, or whatever. They have that too. Do you play your music like on a mini speaker? That's a little trick that I've done, just to kind of just let people or let not people, but let
People.
yeah, exactly. Let the world know that I'm out there. I don't blast it, but it just, I remember once I was in Blue Ridge Parkway and shooting alone, and it must have been like hyenas or something, a pack of something, and but they were like gurgling instead of like howling. It was really unsettling. And so I took out my little speaker and just hung it on my tripod, and it kind of got farther away and farther away. So that's that's my little trick, because I don't want to be caught talking to myself. Right.
Yeah. So I think for me, I would rather just like yell stuff into the darkness.
Okay.
If the music is actually loud enough, I don't like not being able to hear what's around me.
Well, yes, yes, right, 100%.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. I don't like the earphones outside. Unless I bring a little portable speaker, and I play it whatever, 1 to 10. I probably play it at 3 or 4, just to kind of just make a little bit. Everyone else out there is way more sensitive and can hear better and see better than us, right? We have another question from OG. Okay. Technical. Mm-hmm. Do you use focus peaking when focusing in manual mode? And I'm gonna at night.
I don't actually use it at night. Okay. I've tried it a few times. I think especially for the really wide, like the 14 millimeter. Mm-hmm. I find like the red is, well, you can switch the color, but I find like, because you still got some noise on your LCD as you're looking at it, I find it all blends in too much. I'd rather look at the white spot.
Yep. Agreed. I think I'm not a fan of focus peaking OG as well. I think it looks for contrast, right? And it's so anything with contrast, like when I'm using and trying to focus on the stars, they're all red almost all the time, unless I'm way out of focus. So, I use for Nikon. I think Nikon does a great job. That infinity is true infinity for most of their lenses and camera combinations, and then doing the zoom in trick, the zoom in as much as you can, which I believe is 10x for Nikon. 10x and then just kind of rock it back and forth until that star becomes its smallest.
Yeah. Yep. I did to shout out someone who's at the Gabor, the focus on stars.
Oh yeah.
So, because when I teach workshops, like focusing is the hard thing for everyone, and it's like can vary so much. Like there's little tricks you can do for different cameras, different focal lengths, different lenses, and all this stuff. But like I started bringing that in, and it's so much easier for a lot of my clients.
Yep.
And I don't have glasses yet, but eventually I'm gonna need them. So that's gonna be a good tool.
Exactly. And so, right, what Monika is talking about, if you're not familiar, focus on stars makes, I think it's called Batnoff filter. And his are square, right? So you need a filter. You put it over to use a filter holder.
Yeah, you can like filter holders. I've also tested it just hand holding it to see how well it would work.
Yeah. And so basically it's a filter you put on, folks. You can look through it. But what it does is any of those direct light sources, like stars or like lights also on a bridge per se, it's going to create a crosshatch, and when you get it in focus, it creates like an X, and so it's a really kind of it's a much easier way to focus. I find it a little tricky with that 14-24 lens, especially on the 14.
It can be a little bit tricky,
but once you get to 24 and above, it's quite useful. But he has a specific wide filter, and he's offering a discount for Night Photo Summit attendees. He's one of our sponsors. So if you're interested in those, then that's going to deduct at least $100 off your ticket. Because if you win one, I think he's giving away
he's got like 5 or something.
He's giving away five away. So be one of those lucky winners. Really cool. Great shout out. Also, that focusing is the bane of night photography. But it's but again, I will say that the Nikon cameras, the new ones, the Z8 especially, and the Z6 III, that I've been testing, it's like you kind of turn them on and they go right to infinity, and it's pretty close. I still double check, but you're in the zone. And it's a really, really cool thing about that. It was often a struggle. I've used Sony stuff as well, and I don't know, they're focusing like I can't trust their chart on below, whether it's in meters or feet. It's like I was testing out a bunch of cameras. I was thinking about switching. I was testing a bunch of cameras on a bunch of lenses, and one would focus at 3 meters. One would focus infinity would be at 6 meters. The other infinity was infinity. It was all over the place. So it was like such a struggle with that. I would definitely need to always use the filter or mark the lenses, and be like, infinity is at, for this camera this much. And so it's a tough thing, and that takes up most of our time and frustration, I think, out in the field.
Yeah.
Sarush is asking, what
hi,
research do you do before heading out to achieve the shot you have in mind for a specific location?
Yes, I have this massive list of ideas that doesn't even seem to get smaller. I'll like tick something off and add like 2 more.
Yeah.
But I come up with a lot of my ideas as I'm out and about. And I think I used to do a lot more research, but now when I'm hiking, I just like double check which direction I'm pointing. Is it south, southwest? Okay, come back here at this time. And yeah, I do use photo pills sometimes to double check stuff. Like if I'm worried about the core being, say, like in a dip between 2 mountains or not being covered by it. Google Maps.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it really helps to just be out and about and also getting to know the area as much as you can.
Yep. Out, just getting out in the airfield. I mean, yes, we can, even with doing the most research we can be in the zone, but there's always something a little bit different out there. And it's always just good to be ascertained, good to get out there, good to get up the mountain before it's too dark.
I'll go up in the dark. It's fine.
All right. And OG, you're asking about, with Instagram, you can't share your photos, but I will say, OG, I don't know if you signed up for Night Photo Summit yet. Night Photo Summit, we're going to have an image review. One of the classes is an image review. So that would be a great opportunity. We do it every year. That usually 20 or 25 people get to submit their images and get feedback from a panel of people. So great opportunity to do that as well. OG's also asking, do you use a compass at all? And if so, digital, like your phone, or are you bringing like a physical compass?
I'll take a physical compass just in case I get lost.
Yep.
But generally, like, I'll just kind of check my phone because it's usually very handy, and you can have like trails marked on it and stuff. But yeah.
Yep. Excellent. And then Ghost is asking, other than the mountains, where is your favorite place to take night photos?
Hi, Aaron. Probably Dinosaur Provincial Park in Alberta. It's Badlands. There's also tons of dinosaur bones there, which is super neat.
Are there any like
real dinosaurs?
Real dinosaurs. Yeah, like standing up or
Maybe.
sculpture-y?
Maybe you'll have to come visit, find out.
Oh, all right. I like dinosaurs. I want to go.
Yeah,
but it's also a badland area.
Badland area, yeah.
So where in Canada is that?
It's about 2.5 hours east of Calgary, towards the Saskatchewan border.
Okay.
So, and a lot of people think it's Drumheller, and it's not Drumheller.
Okay, thank you for
taking you in a different
out.
direction. But there is a dinosaur museum in Drumheller, so you could do both stops.
Okay. Wait, what's that Drumheller? I don't know. What's that?
There's also Badlands, but
okay.
It's also like, famous dinosaur area in Alberta, and the museum is super cool.
Nice.
There's a big T-Rex in there.
Oh,
yeah.
All right. See, well, these should be outside so we can get a picture of them under the stars.
We'll put in a request. I'm sure they'll do.
Well, folks, we're thrilled to have Monika speak at our upcoming Night Photo Summit, January 24th to the 26th. Her talk is titled Creativity in the Cold, Winter Night Photography Inspiration. In this presentation, Monika will explore how to harness the beauty of winter nights, how to find inspiration in snow and ice-covered landscapes, and how to work with the distinctive details and mood of this season. Again, we don't know what she does in the summer. Monika will walk you through her process and share behind the scenes insights on how she captures some of these wintry images. She will also discuss her approach to planning, technical aspects, and what resources she relies on. She will also share essential tips on protecting your gear in the cold conditions and how to keep warm while photographing in the winter, helping you stay motivated and safe and keep even in the harshest temperatures. Let's take a look at a few of your wintry scenes and then some, and share, if you will, the story behind the shots. Oh, well, was this during the winter? No.
Might have been November, if I remember correctly.
Judas Priest, right?
Priest, yes. Concerts. Yes. So I tossed this one in as sort of a reference frame for everyone because I figured at least some people would know Judas Priest. Maybe throw the horns up in the chat if you know who they are.
Right on.
Yeah. So this is pretty tame to photograph for me.
Okay. All right. So, and then we have something that doesn't seem as tame.
No. So this is Zimmer's Hole. They're a Canadian band.
Okay.
The singer, the heathen, is dressed up like the devil. And there's no barrier here. So there's nothing between me and the crowd when I'm shooting. So I did do a bunch of songs like right up front against the stage with the crowd like shoving into my back and getting jostled. And it's fantastic, super fun. And then I like to move around afterwards, especially in small venues, because you can get some pretty good crowd shots, different angles. And I honestly don't know how I got this exposed correctly, because they had it so dark in there. And I see he's holding something. I'm like, okay, what's he doing? And then he starts drinking and he's holding up this stick. And I'm like, oh, it's going to breathe fire. So I'm like changing. I don't even know what I'm doing with my dials. I'm holding my camera up over my head and I got the shot.
Nice.
And I posted it. Band thought it was awesome. Everyone thinks it's awesome. It's getting shared. And then the promoter, Tyson, messages me the next day from Edmonton. The fire marshal is here.
Oh.
Yeah, so they didn't have a permit for fire, and considering actually how low that ceiling is.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, did get in trouble or just didn't do it again?
Yeah.
We'll see.
I think it was just a don't do this tonight.
Just don't do this tonight. What's your rig in a concert? Obviously, this is not a 1424. Are you in some aperture priority mode to just deal with all of this, or are you going crazy in manual mode?
I did full manual always for concerts.
Okay, all right.
I like the full control, and I think at this time I had the D3S with a 24-70 f2.8 on it.
Okay. Wow. All right. 24-70. That's a good lens to kind of.
That was right? What I used the most in concerts, and also that 72-200 to get a little bit further back. But actually, at this show, considering I was like right up against the stage, and like he could have kneed me in the face, that 14-24 could have worked.
Yeah, this looks like a small venue, or you're just it looks kind of tight, So, all right, let's go from the fires of the concert to the darkness.
The darkness, yeah. So this is Watain. This is one of my favorite photos that I've taken, like concert photos. I think just his expression, the position, how the lighting worked, a little bit of fire. But the interesting thing about shooting this band is they have real blood in their shows. Okay. Pig's blood, not human blood, that's what they say at least. So there's a couple moments in the shows that it's getting thrown out into the crowd. So I've definitely been in the line of fire or blood.
Is that why your hair's red?
It's that stain, and it just never
got. Well, perfectly balanced image. Really, really, really nice. So nicely framed in between all the lights and stuff like that, and a great mood. And looks like he's looking right at you, right? So that's always great. So, all right. So from the concert halls
Yeah.
to the
To the
night
quiet.
skies.
To the quiet.
Where are we here? And share with us this story.
Yeah, we're in Kananaskis Provincial Park, also in Alberta.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know have you ever done any post-holing in the snow, Gabe?
I maybe, but I don't know what it is.
It's a super fun activity where if
Okay.
you forget your snowshoes, you are busting through snow like up to your thighs
Yep.
as you're trying to walk.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
I've never owned snowshoes, but I lived in New Hampshire, and so yes, I remember.
Yeah.
Yes, walking.
So,
And so, what do you pole?
well, so your snowshoes will theoretically keep you on top of the snow.
Yes, right.
But if you forget your snowshoes, you're post-holing. So you're just
All right.
putting your feet through the snow up to your thighs and trying to like do this weird walk.
You're probably getting a better workout.
Yeah, it's really irritating with a really heavy backpack.
That's
Yeah, but I didn't realize I didn't have my snowshoes until I arrived, and I really wanted a certain angle, so I put the effort in to get out there with the tracker, and it was a beautiful night. Like, look at that Milky Way clarity.
yeah. So, and this looks quite a little bit more of a tighter shot than your 14 to 24.
Yeah, this is with the Sigma 40 millimeter.
Sigma 40 millimeter. Okay, and you are. This is wonderful. And so, and this is a nice late summer night or something like that,
Yeah.
right? So
Middle of summer, super warm. Wearing a t-shirt, shorts.
Nice, beautiful. Yeah, I just love that 40 millimeter focal length, folks. I think so many of us get stuck at that sort of. You can't go more than 24, but man, the Milky Way just looks so huge.
Yeah.
At 30. I love shooting at 35 millimeter.
Mm-hmm.
50 is a little tough, right? Because you got to be really. You have to have that mountain really lined up or whatever, because that's a real close look at it. But I think 35, that 35-40 is real nice because it's still somewhat a little wide, normal vision. But look at that. That Milky Way just looks huge.
Yeah.
So that's great. And this, I would assume, tracked, as you said, and this is also the Astro modified camera.
Yeah.
Nice. We got I'm probably gonna Shiragu Preti. Big shout out to Monika. She's incredible in the chat. And OG is asking if you do if you did any photo stacking for this shot, or is it all one shot?
Oh no, this one was also stacked.
It's also stacked.
Yes.
So with the tracker, you're probably getting 1 minute ish, 2 minutes.
I think this is definitely my presentation, so I have the settings in there. It might be I might have done this one at like the 1.4.
Okay.
And so that lets in a lot of light. So that might even be like 30-second exposures for this one. So if you really want to know the answer, make sure you're coming to the conference.
Oh, gee, secrets will be revealed. Secrets will be revealed. All right. And this is a lovely, lovely image that is called
Brushstroke.
Appropriate.
Yeah.
When was this taken? Where was this taken? How was this taken?
Okay. So this was taken in Utsjoki, Finland. So it's the very north end of Finland.
Okay.
It was at the end of a workshop I was teaching, and there was only one participant left because it was a pretty cold night. It's Canadian, not surprising. So, we're just trying to catch more of this amazing aurora show that was going on. And all of a sudden I noticed this thing forming, and I had been trying to line it up with something in the foreground, and then I just decided, well, screw the foreground, we'll just go abstract.
Yep.
And I got this beautiful shape, and this actually won the Aurora category of Astronomy Photographer of the Year 2023.
Awesome. Congratulations, Amazing Sky Guy. Also shouted it out. That's an award-winning photo.
Thanks. It's pretty cool. I love it because it is very much abstract, and it looks like I've zoomed in on something, but this is 14 millimeters.
Wow. Yeah. It's a wide, beautiful dance and a perfect brushstroke. Very nice. All right. moving on. This place looks a little familiar if you know Canada.
Mm-hmm. So that's Mount Assiniboine in the middle, Assiniboine Provincial Park.
Okay.
And I enjoyed a beautiful fall week of camping in -10 and lots of snow, because sometimes our winter likes to show up early, and that's -10 Celsius. Don't ask me Fahrenheit right now.
There's mostly Canadians here. You're okay.
Okay, good. People watching later can like Google
You can Google it. Exactly. Pause and Google. Pause and Google.
Yeah. But it was one of those trips where you book it and you go and you get what you get. And I pretty much got snow the entire time. But luckily one night I did get out of my tent and walk down to the shore. And well, there's still like a little bit of cloud there and some moonlight. It was absolutely beautiful. And I love that like little triangle of Assiniboine is lit up by the glow from the moon.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're also proving that there are clear nights in Canada.
Yes, sometimes.
Right? It's a bit of a struggle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is clear and as epic as ever. What's going on here?
Yeah. Sometimes I like to do a little self-portrait when I'm out and about, just to show where I was, what I was doing. So this is me with one of my cameras on the Star Tracker. And obviously there's another camera up there with me and another lens and another tripod so I can take this. I do kind of want 2 trackers to haul up there, but that's also very heavy.
You got to get a friend Sherpa.
No.
Come join me, and also can't carry the water and the trackers.
The water and the trackers, yeah, and the cookies.
You'd be my friend for life.
Yeah. I don't know. I do have like that little bit of I have to do it myself mentality. So
okay, all right. You earned it.
Problem.
You earned it. Yes.
Yeah. This is one of my favorite things to do, right? To hike up somewhere where there's nobody else and just it's so peaceful and there's no other lights from people to deal with. And
to me, this is a classic. The scale and that you took this of your achievement. The blood, sweat, tears, whatever it took to get up there, is epic. This is just an amazing shot. I want to see it like, wall size, just to me, this obviously it says something very personal to you, but also I think we all can put ourselves in that shoes and all can see that achievement that can be attained, hopefully by all. So lovely shot, really nice. And then I think we're going to end with the Milky Way Arch. Beautiful. What's going on here? Where are we?
So we're on another mountain in Kananaskis Provincial Park, and this one I'm trying to remember now. I don't think I'd gone up it in the daytime. I want to say I haven't.
Okay.
Sometimes I've done that. Like I hike it up first, like in daylight, just to make sure. But I've definitely done a bunch where I'm just like, okay, we're going up in the dark. It's fine. But it also snowed the day before.
Okay.
And it was really cold. And this was when I first started doing this. I was like, am I going to die up there if I do this? But it turned out to be super beautiful. I think the snow really adds to the scene, makes the mountains look extra pretty. I had a little bit of aurora on the left-hand side there.
Okay,
Air glow.
Yeah.
The setting moon, again, painting the mountains. And I don't know what that big light is at the bottom right. I keep meaning to look it up. Could be something.
Oh, in the valley or in
in the valley.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like our lovely light pollution there.
Yes.
Some little town going on there. Perfectly framed, really just wonderful framing, and the colors, it's some wild colors going on, but they really gently blend together, and the light pollution works too, I have to say.
It does actually.
You have that sort of warmth on both sides, right? That the Milky Way is ebbing and flowing from these 2 distinct points. So wow, that's a great image to end on. Wow, that lovely. Thank you so much for sharing that. And let's go back to this format. Without giving away your talk, can you share maybe a couple things? We talked a little bit about the gear, but what's on your checklist? Could be safety, could be warmth, whatever that is essential that you could share. Just a couple things on your checklist before heading out on a long, cold night.
Okay. Well, this is not either of the things you mentioned. This is more for my comfort and happiness.
Okay.
Hot tea and cookies, but they have to be very decadent cookies.
Oh, wow. There's room for cookies, folks.
Oh, yes.
All right. What's your tea of choice?
I usually just do like an Earl Grey.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then decadent cookie.
So if anyone comes to Canmore, there's this baker, Darcy, who makes s'mores cookies. So they're like chocolate chip cookies. And she makes some sort of marshmallow thing for the middle. They're so amazing. Perfect for the outdoors.
Okay.
Yes. And lots of calories because it's hard work staying warm.
It is. You easily burn this off. Monika, you just finished. I was following you, just coming back from a workshop. Where were you? You were in
Abraham Lake.
Lake, and you had moon pie.
Oh yes. Yeah, they have a good pie place there. I will find every good bakery anywhere I travel to.
That's an important skill, folks. That's very important. Follow her separate bakery list Instagram page on.
Yeah, maybe I should do like a blog post.
Right? We would all benefit from that.
Yeah, pastries of the Canadian Rockies with Monika Deviat.
I love it. Yes. All right, so we've joked about it a little bit, but summertime, what's going on? Is that your hibernation?
Yeah.
What are you doing in the summertime?
Honestly, in the summertime, I'm doing a lot more portrait shoots, especially around Banff, like family engagement, that type of stuff. I don't really do weddings. I do a lot more just hiking in the daytime. We actually don't get full nighttime for almost 2 months, not quite here. Yeah. We're far north enough for it to just be twilight for a while. You can still shoot the Milky Way, but the other issue we have these days now is usually July and August are smoke months.
So, wow. Share with us, what does a Canadian Milky Way season look like?
Yeah, so normally I start around March for the core. We can still get it in February, but it's such a small window. And March is still quite wintry and snowy.
Yep.
And that snow can last into June, maybe July in the mountains. The prairies will start to warm up.
Yep.
And then, in June, it's pretty bright out. I'll still go shoot. But we've had smoke come in as early as May from wildfires because it is getting warmer and drier.
Yep.
And then, snow can start in September. And then the core is pretty much below the horizon by November. But then it's time for Orion. So.
Yeah, right. So, well, you have you shared with quite a few outstanding Milky Way shots. That arch that must have been in May, I guess. Yeah. And then the other, we said I think a couple of the others were more in September and stuff. So
September, March. Yeah.
So that is a challenge, I have to say. Most of the nightscapers I know in the States and stuff that said they're dedicating their time chasing the Milky Way in June, July, and August, right? But up in Canada, that's the light and the smoke make it tough. So you're really just forced into the winter night thing.
But it's really beautiful. And I do like it.
Yeah.
I don't mind the cold.
Nice. You also got a comment from Sarush Darcy, the baker. Shout out. Very nice. And folks, we're going to be wrapping things up. So if you do have any last minute questions, now would be the time to add them. Wow, the time flew by so quickly here. One of my last questions to you is going to be any other projects that you would like to share that you're working on? Any hints to some things that are going to be coming out?
Not too much to hint at the moment. Working on some new workshop ideas, I guess. If anybody would like to join me, keep an eye out on those. And I'm just like January has been a bit crazy with the BBC thing and now the Night Photo Summit coming up. But I've also
Yes.
just kicked off the new year of my annual mentorship program. So I'm super excited to start working with 2 new photographers.
Nice.
Yes. So if anyone is interested in that, there are still the details up on my website, but the next round will start in January. But it is something I do to help some people kind of break into the business side of things. And my hope is always to work with people that want to put themselves out there and give some something different and some diversity into the community.
Excellent. Excellent. I saw the 2 students you had. They would look like they were so happy to be signed on and getting ready to level up their visions with you. So that's awesome. Always great to do that. Undervalued to be a mentor, to be an apprentice, and to dedicate that time, whether you want to learn and you have the time to dedicate to it, or again, taking the time to share your skills and your knowledge with others. It's undervalued and doesn't happen as much as it should these days, I think. So kudos to you. Amazing Sky Guy shouting out Canada that while we might not have those summer Milky Ways, we have plenty of aurora and noctilescent clouds a lot.
Oh yeah.
So that's that could be nice shout out there. Thank you. Thank you, Monika. This has been wonderful. A wonderful hour here with you at Night Talk. And thank you all for attending here. Again, this rewatch will be available on our reels in about 10 minutes and on our YouTube channel in about 1 to 2 days. If you also are passionate about night photography, this is your last chance on Night Talk to go from here and go to 2025 Night Photo Summit and sign up now to join our virtual conference starting this Friday through Sunday and join other like-minded people at our annual Night Photo Summit conference. We'll have over 40 presenters, 50 hours of inspiration, instruction, and fun. All this camaraderie, community, and we just mailed out over 300 stellar glow-in-the-dark t-shirts. And there's more to come, right? Obviously, you sign up now, you're going to get your t-shirt probably in about 2 to 4 weeks on that. But for those of you who got their tickets early, you should have them already and get ready to wear them for our star parties. If you can't make it for the weekend or you'll miss 1 or 2 of the days, it's all recorded. It's all recorded and usually available for the rewatch the next day. So you get online access to all the classes for 1 year after the live event. We are running 3 tracks all the time. So it's impossible for you to see all the classes from the get-go, right? So you're going to have to, take some other time and watch them. But I always usually just download them because they're available usually on Vimeo, download them for airplane flights or just for passion through these cold, wintry nights, as well as some boring summer days. So again, we'll just take one last check. All right. Thank you so much. Again, thank you, Monika. It really was a pleasure. We look forward to hearing your class at the Night Photo Summit. Great getting to know you.
Thanks so much. It's fun.
Maybe, I'm here in New York, happy to help, but I might have to scheme to come visit you.
Yeah, come play in the snow.
Exactly. Just warm. They're going to have to ask you about what to pack. Yeah. All righty, folks. Thank you and have fun seizing the night.